Hey guys, Mark here. This is a warning for people that want to upgrade their firmware. Listen, there is no reason to mess with upgrading your firmware. If your quad flies right, returns to home fine, you don't have any range restrictions, do not upgrade your firmware. Don't mess with it. If it flies okay, just because these numbers are higher, like 1.6 and 6.5 and all these crazy numbers they're coming out with, the higher the numbers does not mean that it's going to fix your problem. Hubsan originally came out with the original Superflyer firmware, and that is 1.1.21 and 1.2.12 for the quad. And the controller would be 4.2.9 and 1.3.3. That's the original Superflyer, and that is the best firmware you could get. The reason they're coming out with these other firmwares, and there's only a few that are actually made by Hubsan. A lot of people are going on these links, and it's just a bunch of IT guys and people that know how to manipulate firmware on a quad. Even I seen one where it says the quad is actually supposed to do like what a Mavic Pro can do. It can circle you. Like during follow me mode, it will circle you. No, that's BS. It ain't gonna do that. And I cannot tell you how many people are having problem after problem. They're losing functions. They can't bind to their quads anymore when they find these links that say, oh, this is the greatest upgrade ever. No, the truth is it's not for you. There's only a few, and a couple that were made by Hubsan, and they're only for if you're in like a very low magnetic declination area where no matter how many times you spun your quad, the compass would not calibrate. That's one of the firmware updates. I can't remember exactly what the numbers are. And the other one was for people that live in the North Pole, or really it has to mainly do with the compasses. Your compass calibrations are very important. You need to do them slow and steady. But the firmware that is coming out now is being limited. And there's a reason for that. And in another video, I'm going to give you my advice, or what I believe is causing them to change the firmware. And solder connections inside the controller instead of having IPEX connectors or pigtail connectors. That's being done for a reason, but you'll see that later. But this is a warning. Do not mess with your firmware. Unless you can't do compass calibrations, then look up the original Hubsan. Not some link you found on the website. Because I'm telling you, I've talked to hundreds of people. Now they can't even bind their transmitter to their quad after they upgraded. And once you do that, you can't even revert back to what it came with. So it's screwing all sorts of things up. Trust me, guys. I've been doing this a long time. If your firmware is fine and it flies fine and you don't have 90-meter range restrictions and it's not doing crazy stuff, toilet bowls, and return to home works okay, leave it alone. Otherwise, you're just going to cause yourself headaches. You don't have to listen to me. Go ahead and do it and see what happens. I've talked to probably 100 people now that have tried to upgrade their firmware because the numbers were higher. That doesn't mean anything. All the numbers are is basically what the firmware is supposed to do, and half the time it doesn't even do what it's supposed to do. So You know, the original Superflyer firmware is what I luckily got. Never had to change it. My drone flies perfect. Everything's great. But I really feel bad for you guys that just bought your quad and you're having these range issues. That's for a reason. And I really feel bad that the controllers, the H501s standard controllers, are now coming soldered for the 2.4 gig antenna side. And I heard through the grapevine that they're going to be coming soldered on the 5.8 side too. And the firmware is also changed. And it's changing for a reason. And I'm not very happy about it. And it's not the manufacturers, but I'll get into that in another video. Just a strong warning. If your quad flies fine, do not upgrade your firmware. It's not upgrading it. It's changing it. There's a difference between upgrading and changing. When you change it, you're going to have problems. I can guarantee you 100%. Maybe it'll be like 1 out of 10 that don't have any problems. But when people try to change the firmware on their own from some link they found on the website, they end up with problems. They lose functions. Return home don't work, or they can't go past here or there, or they can't even bind to the quad anymore. That's how bad it's getting. So, there it is. Don't change your firmware if your quad flies fine. Okay? Thanks for watching, and stay tuned because I got some news for you. Okay? Bye.